The final rabbit hole that I want to mention is this concept that Greg calls all cards on the table. And this was a big one for me. So the all cards on the table means accepting where we're at the time. And this is so incredibly important, because the sooner that you can accept where you're at, the faster you can make progress. And I just want to give you a couple of examples of this in my situation. So one of these had to do with just working with Greg online. And I would, in those situations, just naturally want to hide some of the symptoms that I was experiencing. I found them to be incredibly embarrassing. And at the time, thought that that somehow reflected on me as a musician and as a person, which of course is not the case. But you can start to believe that. So I would do all kinds of things to head off unwanted activations so that Greg didn't see those. And finally it became clear to me one day that this was foolish and I wasn't going to make progress if I didn't allow everything to show. And that is just so key with this. We have to see what's going on so that we can develop the strategies to deactivate these unwanted responses. But we can't develop those strategies if we don't see everything that's going on. So this requires going into observer mode and being almost a third party and observing yourself and looking and coming to terms with exactly what's going on. It doesn't mean that this is going to be the case forever. This is a data point to craft strategies that will help move you forward. I finally got that message, and once I quit trying to guard against these unwanted activations, I took a massive step forward in my recovery. Part of this is also just accepting where you're at. So it's not only looking at all the symptoms, but just accepting that you have developed musician's focal dystonia and you are now moving towards recovery. And this may sound trivial, but it's actually really important, because I found myself constantly fighting against these unwanted activations. And everybody's different on the level of unwanted activations that they have, and also what's going on in their head and the emotions that are attached to all this. So we all present with our own tangle, so to speak. But I was almost in a denial in a way, because I continued to perform and really adopted some pretty bizarre playing postures to head off these unwanted activations, and I just made that okay in my head because I was going to keep playing. And for some people, they can keep playing and they can work on recovery at the same time. So as I said, everybody's different, but in my case, that was not a good approach, because things just continued to get worse, and I was creating more fear and anxiety in the system by doing that and by denying that I had a serious playing issue and I needed to get to the bottom of it. So I just wanted to mention that for your consideration.